If you're asexual, you might be considering moving out here to Denver because of our purported LGBTQ plus tolerance and presence. Well, you'd be shocked to learn that Denver has a serious acephobia problem, which I've had to learn about firsthand as one of Denver's only out and proud asexuals. Denver is firmly in the grip of romantic and sexual hegemony, it seems, and an extremely entrenched relationship hierarchy. I've had to learn this the hard way, but there are lots of double standards that we asexuals are held to, at least here in Denver. I can't speak on behalf of the rest of the nation, that other groups such as gay, bi, trans, lesbian, and so on don't necessarily have to endure. And they're very asexual specific. But that's the long and short of it, at least currently. I don't know. But it's worth pointing out that, yes, Denver does suffer from a serious acephobia problem, where asexuals like myself are routinely disenfranchised, not tolerated in supposed queer safe spaces. I had someone text me, "Oh, you should be normal, Nick. You should get a girlfriend." And I'm like, normal? I thought I was in the queer demographic. Here the queer demographic is telling me to become normal. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I went to a supposed asexual support group that was more like conversion therapy. There was an aromantic group too, and I talked about how I dislike romantic hegemony, and I dislike boyfriends and girlfriends on a conceptual level. The leader of the group told me that I wasn't allowed to talk bad about romantic relationships, and I was like, I'm in the aromantic group. I should be able to shit-talk romantic relationships in the same way that a trans person or a non-binary person is able to shit-talk the gender binary without any fear of repercussion. It doesn't make any sense that in a supposedly aromantic group, you're not allowed to talk negatively about romantic relationships. It's like the scene in Dr. Strangelove where they can't fight in the war room. It's completely oxymoronic. So there's some issues with potential conversion therapy adjacent type methods used against asexuals, at least locally. Someone emailed me, and they were like, "Oh, I know how you feel. I don't want you to feel alone, but I was put into a relationship, married, and someone helped me understand how sex works, and now I feel more comfortable around sex." And I was like, well, that's called conversion therapy, where you have to deny your legitimate sexual orientation to appease the tastes and mandates, standards, and norms of society at large. And that disturbs me, that people just get married so that they can deny who they are on a deeper, intrinsic level. It seems to be completely against the ideals of the LGBT movement, and it's very disturbing. You should know that Denver does have some kind of issue with acephobia, and asexual people aren't generally treated very well here. And the only reason I'm sticking around is because I was born here, and I'm a fifth-generation Coloradan, and so I belong here. I absolutely do. But if you move here and you're asexual, and you feel like you'll get to belong here, people will make a spot for you, they absolutely won't. It's boyfriends and girlfriends and relationship drama up the fucking wazoo. That's something that's taken up a tremendous amount of mental space for me. And I'm just sort of tired of the prevalence of romantic or sexual themes in the world. It's become stale, it's become repetitive, it's become tiresome, and nobody allows for healthy asexual expression in art. Like, there's a local band that has a song called "Cannibalism is Sexy," so you can imply that the consumption of one's own species is sexually attractive. But if I were to make a song called "Nothing is Sexy," where I implied that nothing is capable of provoking sexual attraction, then that wouldn't be popular, and that wouldn't be on the top of the charts. That wouldn't be a song that anyone got behind. So it really makes no sense. You can imply that cannibalism is sexy, but you can't imply anything that, like, you know, sexual attraction is a banal and archaic institution. You can't say anything like that. Yeah, a lot of narcissist, pretentious type fakes out here who want to walk the walk, but don't talk the talk, or vice versa. I forget how that saying goes. Lots of people who claim to be, you know, against the gender binary, and maybe they are, but I don't like relationship hierarchies, romantic hegemony, or transactional power dynamics. I think all of those things are rotten. Way more rotten than gender binary or whatever. So it seems like people are fundamentally concerned with sort of the wrong problem, the wrong systemic factors. I'm not really worried about any of it, and I'm well over it. But if you move to Denver, you will only be interacting with people who understand LGBT issues in the most shallow, vacant, surface level sort of way. And there's not really room for a diversity of thought here. One thing that I found appealing about the LGBT movement to begin with was the fluidity of it. The idea that ideas are fluid, that things are subjective, but there are some truths that are extremely concrete, and if you push back against them, you're not supposed to, because these things are objective, but everything else is subjective. But these things are objective, concrete truths. Like, for instance, that asexuality is on a spectrum. Everyone insists that I agree with this, even though they themselves aren't asexual, you know. They insist that I agree with this. I don't think it is. I think either you're asexual or you're not. Like, if you have sex occasionally, then you just have a low sex drive. That's not asexuality. I don't think asexuality does exist on a spectrum. I'll say that all I want, because I think it's true. But if you say that, people who aren't asexual will tell you how to feel and what to say about your own sexual orientation, and that this is a concrete, unshakable truth. I mean, you just can't get better than this. It's hypocrisy at the highest level. Yeah, if you move to Denver expecting a warm welcome and the ability to express yourself freely, that your reproductive system is completely dead, you don't like sex, say, and you want to express that through art or writing or whatever, you won't be able to in a way where people like you. People won't like you if you express that openly. In either the cis, het, or LGBT spaces, nobody really likes that, which I just find so interesting. People do not view asexuality as valid, legitimate, meaningful. Like, nobody considers that while they might like stimulating their minds with all sorts of sexual behavior and sexual thoughts, other people might prefer long-term serotonin deprivation and might glean a deeper, more impactful view of the human experience from something like long-term serotonin deprivation. I understand the world in so many more complex ways than someone who just puts on a silly leather costume and goes to Pound Town with their sexual or romantic partner. To me, all of that stuff is a stupid joke, and I openly make fun of it because I don't understand why anyone would debase themselves to that level. But I suppose people are only capable of understanding how that can provide meaning, but not how my life can be meaningful. So I'm routinely dehumanized and treated like literal garbage. It's actually amazing. I don't know if this is, again, a national phenomenon, but at least here in Denver, asexuals do not get a very welcome reception, and there's a lot of hostility towards us, and in many cases, active efforts in the field of conversion therapy, which I think is disgusting and should be called out. Anyway, that's all I really had to say. If you're asexual, you might not want to consider moving to Denver. Maybe some other city, I don't know. Alright, see you later.